Blood for the Blood God.
How you going, guys? Dean from Blood for the Blood God here. I've got Jeremy with me today and we've got a 2000 point 8th edition battle report for you. So I'll go through my army now. So it's 2000 points, it's fully battle forged. So I've got 3 detachments. So the main detachment has got 2 HQ choices, which are both Demon Princes with wings and a pair of Malefic Talons.
Whack.
And then I've got 3 troops choices. So I've got 2 units of Cultists with just no upgrades, they're just stock standard. And a unit of 5 Khorne Berserkers. They've all got chain axes and chain swords.
Savage.
And the champion has a power sword. So that's my first detachment. And then my second 2 detachments are Lord of War auxiliary detachments, I believe they're called. So I've got 2 Khorne Lord of Skulls with Gorestorm Cannon and Hades Gatling Cannon.
How many points for coming in at here, Dean?
It's 1992, I think.
Right, okay.
So it's not quite the 2000, but it's really hard in this new edition to spend like 4 points. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I had a few people requesting they wanted to see Lord of Skulls in a battle report in the 8th edition, so I've put them in there for you. And yeah, if there's anything you guys want to see, chuck a comment below and I'll put it in my next battle report. So without further ado, we'll chuck the camera over to Jeremy and he'll run you through his Eldar list.
Jeremy here. I got some Eldar here for my first game of 8th edition. I'm pretty excited. Eldar seem a little bit weaker now than they are in their current 7th edition versions, but I still think there might be some room for some plays. So if we look down here, I've got an Eldar battalion detachment. I've taken 3 HQs. I've got a Surman, a Warlock with his Witchblade, and an Autarch on bike with Laser Lance and a Reaper launcher.
Which blade has he got?
A Witchblade.
Sorry, I had to.
Then I've got 3 units of 8 Dire Avengers. A Hemlock Wraith Fighter over here. Then I've got 5 Warp Spiders. The Exarch has got a second Death Spinner. Then I've got 3 Wave Serpents. 2 of them have Twin Scatter Lasers, Shuriken Cannons, and Crystal Targeting Matrices. And the third one has Twin Bright Lance and a Shuriken Cannon, as well as the Crystal Targeting Matrix. Then I've got a unit of 3 Warwalkers. One has just normal Shuriken Cannons, and then I've got 2 of them with Twin Link Shuriken Cannons. And that rounds us out. So that's the whole list there. 2,000 points.
2,000 points on the bullet.
Not on the board. I think it's a couple points short. But yeah.
Alrighty, guys. So we've finished placing our objective markers. Jeremy won the roll-off, so he got to place his objective marker first, which means I get to place the last objective marker, and therefore I get to determine the deployment type and my deployment zone. So we've placed objectives 1 over here. We've got 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. So that's all of our objectives placed, and then I'm going to pick table quarters, and I'm going to pick the quarter over on the far side there. So we're going to jump straight into deployment, and we'll be right back. Yep,
Okay, guys, Shawnee from Menza Gaming. We're back with the next part of this battle report for 8th edition. Dean's about to roll to seize the initiative. We finished our deployment, so it's looking pretty good at this point. Jeremy's feeling very confident. He's got first turn. He managed to cram all of his units into these wave serpents in order to try and manipulate first turn, so well done.
So we'll explain, for those of you who haven't seen the rules, the way it works is whoever essentially has the least number of units in their army gets first turn, or gets to choose first or second turn automatically. So a way you can get around that is by deploying multiple units inside of a transport, and that way you're only deploying the transport, which is only 1 unit, therefore you're more likely to get turn 1. So Jeremy's been very smart, he's taken multiple units, but put them all in transports to minimise the amount of units he has to deploy, therefore giving him first turn. Very smart. But it's not going to mean shit when I seize the initiative in 3, 2, 1. Ah, fuck it. It's only a 4.
Alright, but hang on, you can use a command point to re-roll that.
Ooh, do I really want to?
Well...
Yeah, fuck it, I've got 6 of them.
Ooh,
let's re-roll.
Very strong language here. I'm waiting for the... Oh! Oh! That command point! That command point pays off.
Alrighty guys, we've just finished my turn 1. So I've moved the 2 Lord of Skulls up. I've moved the Demon Princes in behind them. That way Jeremy can't target the Demon Princes because he has to target the closest model, which is the big tank Lord of Skulls units. And also the Demon Princes give the Lord of Skulls reroll to 1s. So I fired this Lord of Skulls Hades Gatling Cannon at this Wave Serpent here. Took off 5 hull points, or wounds I should say. And then this one fired his Gorestorm Cannon at this guy, taking off 2. And his Gatling Cannon over here, which killed 1 Warwalker and took 4 hull points off another one. So I didn't manage to kill any units. I then went to go for the charge. Jeremy took 1 wound off of that Lord of Skulls in Overwatch. And then I failed my charge roll. So I used a command point as well to reroll one of the dice on that Lord of Skulls charge. Just trying to get that first turn strike, but I didn't manage to succeed. So that pretty much sums up my turn. And we'll jump into Jeremy's turn 1 and we'll be right back.
Hey guys, Jeremy here. So I just took my first turn with the Eldari, and I was able to take quite a few wounds off this first Lord of Skulls. Dean, how many wounds did I do?
So you've done 16 out of 28.
Okay, and that's significant because even after his heal in the first, his regeneration, he'll still be under the first damage threshold, which means his movement's reduced to 7 inches.
Correct.
So that means that he's, I think, looking at a 10-inch charge to get into these Dire Avengers. So I'm pretty happy with that. I can't complain.
So for your turn, you disembarked, you guys?
Yeah, I disembarked, moved my tanks back, created a little bit of a wall, but I wanted them to be in range to get some shooting, and it kind of was worth it because those Dire Avengers did about 4 or 5 wounds between them with the Rend. And if it wasn't, and if it wasn't for that, I don't think I would have got onto that threshold. So I'm pretty happy with that decision. And yeah, over to Dean's turn 2.
Alrighty guys, here we have the end of my turn 2. So as you can see, the Lord of Skulls made his charge into a unit of Dire Avengers and fucked him. Second Lord of Skulls failed his charge. Probably worth noting that I used one of my command rerolls to get that Lord of Skull into, because he failed his initial charge, but then I rerolled one of the dice. The Demon Princes just flocked up behind, which has probably left this guy quite exposed, but he's still going to have to get closer to that model than any others before he can attack it. So I'm still pretty confident those Demon Princes are fine, but we'll see what Jeremy has up his sleeves. I almost made it into this unit with my consolidation move, because you consolidate 3 inches, and as long as you can get within 1 inch of an enemy model, you can essentially start a new combat with them. But yeah, unfortunately I was just outside of range. So yeah, that pretty much sums up my turn, and we'll jump into Jeremy's turn 2.
Alright guys, end of turn 2 for the Eldar. I was able to shoot and kill the first Lord of Skulls there. I assaulted the second one. I had a little bit of a rules mishap, or I thought that I could protect my character if he was in the second rank. But unfortunately, we read the rules and we found out that if you're in the second rank and you can attack, you can also be attacked. So as a result of that, a Silman actually got struck in the second rank and was killed by the Lord of Skulls, which has put a bit of a dent into my plans. But we'll see how we can go. So going into turn 3 for Chaos.
With that new heck.
Alrighty guys, here's the end of my turn 3. So the Lord of Skulls, with his shooting, he managed to take a few hull points off this guy, dropping him down to 1 remaining. He also took a few hull points off of this guy, dropping him down to 1 remaining, I think. He's got 7 taken off of him. So, what, 5 remaining?
6 remaining.
6 remaining, because they got 13. Sorry, it's hard to keep up in this edition. And then in combat, he managed to wipe out both the character and the unit that he was engaged with. So thank God he can shoot whilst in combat, because that allows his damage output to be fucking huge. Demon Prince over here failed his charge into the Wraith Knight fighter fucking thing, Hemlock, and he actually took a few wounds from Overwatch as well, so that's not good. He's only got 2 remaining, so that Demon Prince is probably going to die. And then this Demon Prince made a 10-inch charge into some Warp Spiders and wiped them all out too. So Khorne Demon Prince is a pretty baller on the charge with 8 attacks, so
Someone's
definitely worth. Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say Jeremy's getting engaged. But we'll see. So we'll jump into Jeremy's turn 3 and we'll be right back.
Guys, end of Elder turn 3. It doesn't look like much has happened, but I've spread out my stuff and I've done quite a lot of wounds to that Lord of Skulls there. I think he's down to... How many is he left on, Dean?
Well, he's taken, what?
21
18,
wounds.
21, yeah, so he's got 7 left.
Yeah, so down to 7, and the Demon Prince is down to 2 left. Taken 5 wounds.
Yeah.
So I've whittled them down, but unfortunately, Dean's still got his whole backfield on objectives. So even if I manage to kill these 2 things, I still think I just lose on objectives. But let's see what happens. So we'll go into Dean's turn 4.
Nice and simple turn for me. This is my turn 4. Lord of Skulls, he did some shooting. He killed the Wave Serpent that was over in the corner here. He also put 2 wounds on the Flyer, and then charged this. I made a mistake, and I chose to do his slash attack instead of his smash attack. And as a result, Wave Serpent is still alive. That being said, in his turn, if he falls back, he can't shoot, and then I'm just going to chase him down again. So, not too concerned there. And then this Demon Prince flew over here and smashed the other Wave Serpent, and then his character jumped out. So all Jeremy realistically has on the table is these 2 units here and the Flyer. Unless he can somehow kill that, but we'll see. So we'll jump into turn 4 for the Eldar.
Alright, end of Eldar turn 4. The Hemlock came up and put some mortal wounds on the Lord of Skulls with Smite, and then finished it off with his D-sides. We had the Dire Avengers here. They shot at that Demon Prince, and they took 1 wound off it. The Warlock took another wound off it with Smite, so it's sitting on 1 wound left. So 1 wound left there. I've kind of cleared out my backfield, but as we said last turn, Dean still has all that stuff holding his objective. So it's still any man's game, I think, but it will be a bit of an uphill battle for me to get back into it. But we are going into turn 5 for Chaos.
Alright, there we have the end of possibly the shortest turn ever. Demon Prince charged into the Warlock and killed him, and the Cultists just sandbagged this objective a little bit more. So, nice, simple, real quick. I had the potential to charge those Dire Avengers down the back there with the Demon Prince, but I didn't want to risk dying to Overwatch. Whereas the Warlock, I wasn't likely to die, and I was still going to kill a unit, so it was still worthwhile. That Demon Prince is toast, though, because he's only got a single wound remaining, and he's still within range of everything to get killed. So we're going to jump into Jeremy's turn 5, and we'll be right back.
Alright guys, we're into the end of Eldar turn 5. It's been a pretty successful turn for the Eldar. The Dire Avengers moved up and peppered that Demon Prince, finishing him off. Over here, we had the Wave Serpent push forward and put some shots into those cultists. Wave Serpent was able to kill 4 cultists, but they passed their battle shock test.
Yep.
Over here, we got the Hemlock fighters. Like the supersonic fighters have really high movement in 8th edition, so it was able to pretty much move across the whole board, and then put its Smite as well as its double D scythe into those 5 Marines and took them all out. So we've actually created a situation here where, Dean, you're controlling 2 objectives.
Correct. So I've got 2 with my Cultists here, whereas Jeremy's got 1 with his Dire Avengers up the back there, and 1 with his Hemlock here.
Yeah,
so we're actually tied on primaries.
So we're tied on primaries. We're both actually...
Slay the Warlord. I got First Blood, but you have Linebreaker.
Yeah, so it's currently a draw. So does the game go on? On a 3-up, the game is going to continue.
I don't want to roll that dice. I want to roll one of my nice big gold ones. So we're looking for a 1 or a 2, guys, for a nice happy draw. Anything else, and you can get fucked. Get fucked.
Oh, we're going on. Game is going on. It's the Eldar looking good. All right, we're going into Chaos turn 6.
Guys, so I've done my turn. Game's not quite over yet. I might have a play here. So it's no longer restricted to only holding 1 objective with each unit. So what I've done is I've spread out my cultists so that they're holding both this objective and this one. And then with this unit in the center, I tried to spread out so that I was holding that one, and that one, but I rolled a pretty poor run. I rolled a 1-inch from my run move, so that failed. But my plan was to spread out like that, and then when Jeremy shoots at me, since I can take the model from wherever I want, I would just remove the models that are not currently holding an objective. And that way, I could potentially still hold all of the objectives. Unlucky, because like I said, I managed to fail that thing, but I am currently holding 3 objective markers. 1 there, 1 there, and 1 there. So in Jeremy's turn, he's going to move up onto that one and hold it. He's going to move over there, hold it. So it'll be 2 versus 2, because this one will be contested. So it'll be 2 versus 2, and it'll still be a draw, provided he doesn't kill this entire unit, which he's going to obviously dedicate a lot of shooting to. So we'll see how he goes.
All right, here we are at the bottom of Eldar turn 6. As you can see, there aren't many chaos left on the table. He's just got that one cultist left. He's staunchly holding his objective. But unfortunately for him, their Eldar have kind of seized control.
Yeah.
What do you
that Wraith fucking fighter thing, the Hemlock, just did 6 mortal wounds
with Smite.
That cultist unit. Smite. So that was pretty
Yeah, I mean, we've been playing like... Obviously, this is technically 8th edition hasn't been released yet.
Yeah.
But we've been playing with the rules that basically there are no firing arcs in the game. And that, especially with flyers with flamers, makes them quite effective.
He's easily MVP.
He's killed a lot of stuff.
He put the majority of the wounds that were done to the Lord of Skulls were done by him, whether it be through Smite or through his D-sides.
Yep.
He put a ton of wounds on them. And like that's the thing, Flamers being able to now do D3 wounds to a single model instead of just a single hit, like seventh, makes Flamers so good.
Yeah.
Fucking D-Flamers.
It's pretty intense. He even did some hefty damage for Demon Prince that tried to assault him in Overwatch. He did, I think, 2 or 3 wounds to it.
Yeah. And then I failed the charge anyway.
Yeah, so he's pretty effective. But yeah, so maybe I'll pass the camera over to you, Dean. You can do a recap of the game. I mean, so what do you think? Do you think there are any big pivotal decisions?
Well, when you made that charge with a Sermon, thinking that you wouldn't be able to get attacks allocated to you.
Yeah.
That was, part of the learning experience, I guess. So
it makes sense now. Effectively, the rule is if you can attack, you can be attacked.
Yeah. And if you can target, you can be targeted if you're a character in combat now. You can be singled out.
Yeah, so it actually makes supporting characters, while they're strong because they can get into a combat and do some damage, they're just going to... Yeah, because they're just going to get hit. Like, I had an Autark with the laser lance and like, he had obviously all the like, some guns and stuff, but I thought he'd be like a decisive counter charger, but against you, there was no justification to get him in combat against what you had.
You get your supporting characters, it's good to have them near the combat, but you don't necessarily want them in there.
Yeah.
Especially against something like a Lord of Skulls.
Against dedicated... Yeah, so against any sort of dedicated combat unit, unless you've got,
It's probably more against a single model that's a dedicated combat unit. Because if that was like a big unit of Terminators or something, only the Terminator that was within 1 inch of that character could attack it. All the other Terminators have to attack the guys they're in 1 inch with.
That is true.
Something like a Lord of Skulls, he can just pick anyone within 1 inch of him, he can allocate all of his attacks onto them.
Yeah, so that was certainly... Obviously, I thought I was making a bit of a smart play, but retrospectively, it was a big misplay, charging that back in this combat that was just down here. But all in all, it was a really good game. Thanks for having me on, Dean. Really appreciated it.
Thanks for coming. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And like I said earlier, chuck a comment below with the unit or the list you want to see in the next battle report, and we'll make sure it happens.
See you guys.
One for the blood yacht.